It's kind of a weird morning. I got to work like 30 minutes early. I wanted to do this video earlier. I was in the room and I just lost train of thought. I was listening to Jimmy Dore's show and some other folks, some of those intellectuals I was telling you about. Jimmy Dore's guest was talking about American exceptionalism and imperialism and just this ideology that persists that anything that gets in the way of American pursuit is terrorism. And it's the one thing about me being a socialist now is that when I hear certain things, it clicks and it all meshes together and it makes sense. When I thought of that, I thought about how, remember the bailouts? Remember how Iceland didn't want to participate in the bailouts, and the American government called them a terrorist country. And I'm like, wait a minute, man. Iceland's a funding member of NATO, and they're a terrorist? Yes, they are. Under the American definition, anybody that gets in the way of them is a terrorist organization. You have to understand. See, you have to understand that people don't necessarily use the same vocabulary we use. Like, they're not talking about God. They ain't talking about Jesus. They ain't talking about, our creator. They talking about something else. Different type of vocabulary out there. Now, this particular case I'm talking about of imperialism, neocolonialism, and all that stuff, and also all this. Let me slow down. When I heard that, it made sense to me. Also, this morning I listened to Ralph Nader. He was on Democracy Now! He was talking about the Boeing 737 Max plane or whatever. The two of them crashed, killed everybody on board. And it just came to me. That's capitalism. Like, that's the era we're in. That the devil is unleashed. The devil's in a hurry. They're killing people left and right, and it's no big deal. That's the era we're in. And you look at it that way, you understand what's at stake. This is that experiment they always have talked about. This is Reaganomics. This is Reaganomics in front of your face. This is it. It's a little rainy, a little cold out here, y'all. I'm gonna get dressed while I'm talking to you. This is Reaganomics. This is what it is. That people die in front of us. And then, what broke my heart, last night I watched, there was a guy who was an engineer, I think he was a mechanic or something, worked for Boeing, and he kept warning them. He warned them both times before the crash happened that these planes are unsafe. And he said that when he was in the military, that kind of thing wouldn't have been allowed. And someone made a comment about how the military isn't a profit, isn't run by profit. And it's something, for some reason, that stuck in my head. That those people are dead because you wanted to pinch a few pennies. Basically. They're dead because of that now. Yep. And that's going to continue. I mean, we all know about Flint, Michigan, Newark, New Jersey. We know about these cancer clusters in Houston. All these black folks, they got sick with cancer and stuff because of the rail yards, and they knew about it. And in the justice system, folks would be going to jail behind that. Folks would be getting sued behind that. But Trump's administration is not going to pursue that because there's no votes to be gained from Houston. There's no votes to be gained from black people. So he's not going to jump on that. Like what he did with Alabama with that storm, where he was all like, oh, the storm's coming, when it wasn't. That's a voting base. You can't have a bunch of them killed. That's his PS. That is literally his people. Literally. Alabama. Oh, yeah. And I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. So, this is what this is the devil. This is the devil unmasked. This is what it is. If you ever wonder, well, how does the devil look? This is the devil. This is it. And we are all expendable. All our lives are expendable. Our lives do not matter. Our lives have no value in this system. And that's the point. It just keeps coming to me. All of us are in danger. At any time, these crackers want to try to cut some corners. For some reason, I have a feeling something else is going to happen soon. The the oil pipelines they've been talking, people protesting and getting beat up and arrested and shooting fire hoses at them and all that. Guess what? I think they said a pipeline burst. So the very same thing people are protesting about has happened. This is capitalism running amok. I was reading about these chemical plants in Texas that they let out I forgot what you call it. They let out a bunch of gases, but the way the EPA has got it, like they can hide it and stuff. It's just, and then we had that chemical plant blow up in Texas. I mean, this is what capitalism unmasked, unchained looks like. We're all in danger. And all they want to talk about is jobs. People making $18,000 a year, working 2 and 3 jobs, making ends meet. You want to put. It's just like when you guys remember when Trump was talking about. What was it? I'm trying to remember. I'll just say that the jobs are a big misnomer. That means nothing to me. Just job numbers, because the quality of the jobs, we've never gone back to before the recession. Sometimes when I go on these conservative sites and like Circus Report or Police One or whatever, when they talk about money, these conservatives will say stuff that it's like they understand that capitalism is really fucked up right now. And I find that intriguing that even they have to, like one guy was talking about, I was getting the gas hauling. They were talking about how a lot of the refineries had their own tank companies years ago, and how like they had trucks were real nice. It was a really good job, and like they had like all kind of little benefits they would get and special pay. And the dude was like, dude, after the recession, all that stuff is gone. And I'm like, yeah, that's what the left has been talking about. There's been no recovery. The can was kicked down the road with Obama. That's what we've been saying. Yeah. And that's an indictment of capitalism. And that's an indictment of greed. But I understand white supremacy is not going to come to my point of view, because white supremacy is based on defending and protecting what they already have and keeping the rest of us down. It's no reason to be done with devils. It's no reason to be done with folks like that. That's done with. That's a waste of time. Complete waste of time. I've done videos telling you about sarcasm of the Caucasian, how they engage in sarcasm and stuff, and how it's not designed to be critical. It's designed to just shut you up, suppress you. That's the mindset of the oppressor. They're not even trying to reason with you anymore. That's the interesting part about Trump's reign, is that we've seen just how nasty white people can be, just how vicious white people can be, and just how much they never respected us. They never respected us. That never happened. That's not real. They never respected us. They never respected our ancestors. Never. They talk. The chaplain was riding with me. He was talking about how you, as a man of color, you should understand that, Billy Graham bailed Dr. King out of jail. I've seen no proof of that. I've seen no proof of that, first of all. And I said, yeah, but, and he just cut me off. I said, okay, all right, because that was the point. When he rode with me, I was like, all right, let me just keep my mouth shut and get it over with. And I drove as carefully as possible. And I let him just talk for the most part. I said little things here and there, trying to be, even. I'm not even-handed. I think we're in a time where Trump's got everything he's wanted. I think there's really been no opposition to Trump. Not real opposition. He got Trump got his little trade deal. I'm not an equal, even person. Not at this point. I think we're at war already. You're not going to be equal with people who want to kill you and destroy you and who want to kill their own children to do so. It's fucking stupid. Fuck these crackers. But he started talking about, Billy Graham and all this. I'm just like thinking to myself, I was going to say this and I don't know why. Billy Graham let Dr. King speak at one of his crusades. And the next year, he brought in a guy who was a pro-segregationist. And Dr. King wrote a letter and was like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? And Billy Graham, one of his advisors, wrote back and said that, God wants us to love everybody. Well, I'm here to tell you, I don't love my enemy. I love people who are willing to change. And I love people who ask to be forgiven. I'm not forgiving people who see me as a dog, want to treat me as a dog, and hate me. That's weakness. That makes no sense. You're trying to forgive. You know what I mean? People can change. Like that guy, Young Turks, running for office. People can change. 10, 20 years later, people can change. But no. You disrespect me, you disrespect my family, I'm coming for you. And that's all there is to it. I'm not one of those black people on YouTube who just, no, man. God subject. So, you saw Billy Graham, I just told you, happened. But also, there was when Dr. King was talking about marching on the Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama, Billy Graham said it. This is true. Billy Graham said, if it's the law, they should follow the law. So what that shows you is these Christians aren't necessarily on our side. Society's changed where they have to be. These Christians are not necessarily on our side. And you shouldn't think they are just because they read the Bible and all that. There's times where if the law is unjust, it must be broken. I've learned that. If the law is unjust, because you have to understand that this whole settler colonial state called the United States was designed upon warfare and colonialism and raping and pillaging. So, and I know these people say so long ago, there's been all these different black people, and yes, there has, who've had a chance to do things and say things and make moves. I get that. But at the end of the day, the foundation is based upon corruption and based upon abuse. That being the case, you have to always keep in your mind that the history of these people, I said like that. Just keep that in your mind. So, the fact that Billy Graham made that statement, I'm not speaking any ill on the dead. I don't care. It happened a long time ago. But it's just another reminder to me that these folks are not on our side. Not on our side at all. And you shouldn't think they are necessarily. Some of them are. But I don't walk around thinking, well, I've got allies here. Let me see. You're my... No, I don't. My mindset is that most people are Trump supporters. Most people out here are fascists and or aren't following politics at all. You know what I did? When they had that, my friend Denzel was telling me something like that. And I decided I was going to test these people. So they had a shooting in Jersey where a guy killed 6 people, including a police officer. Jersey City, New Jersey. Big shootout. And I listened to it when I came to work that morning. And I wanted somebody to pray about it, and people just must ignored it. They not been able to talk. So I asked my boss, Blair. He hadn't even heard about it. And then I asked the chaplain. He hadn't heard about it either. I'm sure you guys have heard the statement, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, if you're not looking for things that are broke, you're not going to find it. So you're not going to know what to fix. And that's my thing about these people being Trump supporters and all that. You can be something without knowing the politics of it. Does that make sense? That's how I think they are. That's how my mindset is with them. So I keep my mouth shut. I feel like being here is just so boring. See, my thing is, they can do all this, sending boxes and all this stuff. But that's not bettering me or my people. And our society is becoming more and more effed up. Things are crumbling all around us. We're getting into more and more wars. If you're a Christian, you should be talking about that. Not just... I made a video when I first started up here 3 weeks ago. Almost 4 weeks ago. Where I said the Samaritan Purse is the white man's burden. I think it is. It makes them feel better. We've been at war for 20 years on the basis of a lie. And it's come out that the war isn't... The war they said that they put forward isn't even going well. They've lied. Over multiple administrations have lied about the conduct of the war. Maybe this explains why now we're engaging in war crimes. Maybe that helps to explain that for you guys. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it just. Maybe it helps to explain to you where we're at now. And it also explains we have a president that's actually legitimizing it. You have a president that's actually pardoning war criminals now. Maybe that's why war's not going well. I think the Army had trouble meeting their hiring quota or whatever the other year. Maybe these things are why. These folks know the truth. You can be distracted. You can sit up here and, oh, let's hold hands and pray and all that. But that's not going to change the fact this is a warmongering country. And we're doing more and more. I mean, I watched the documentary when I first came here. A couple of them. And they went to Iraq and they were the Syrian refugees. I'm just thinking in my head, thinking to myself in my mind, if these people hadn't went and invaded this country on a lie and killed all these hundreds of thousands of people, maybe you crackers wouldn't need to be sending trucks and containers full of humanitarian stuff. And they're still doing it. They're still doing it. Samaritan's Purse to me is a Band-Aid for imperialism. There you go. I can end the video right there. It's a Band-Aid for imperialism. And it makes folks feel good. I'm sure it makes them feel good that they're doing something. But we're still at war. We're still out here threatening people. Like, we have not changed from the people that got us into the Iraq war. Nothing has changed. That's why I say there's no justice in America. No justice in this country. None whatsoever. So, peace, you guys. Peace.